The fires have ended, epidemic restrictions have been released, and the weather looks good, so with no further ado, let's test a rocket motor.
Okay. Wait. Okay, we're ready.
This is the test of the Mate I motor. It is designed to be powerful enough to launch the Easy I-65 to 1,300 feet. Because it has taken so long to finally test this motor, today's test is critical to the launch date of our first research mission. If this motor fails, the mission will likely be delayed into July. So cross your fingers, let's hope this works.
All right, 30 seconds on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
$20 seconds. $10 seconds. Two, one, commit. Oh man. Oh no. No. Alright, let's go and check the fire.
The investigation began as soon as we saved the test site from potential fire. Upon seeing the carnage, we determined that this CATO was another full casing burst due to overpressurization. This is a problem I thought I'd solved during the investigation of the H motor explosion, so what caused it to happen again? Looking at the thrust curve, it is clear that this motor was far overpressurized. We originally predicted a peak thrust of 42 kilograms, but this motor went to 60 kilograms. A rough conversion shows that this motor reached around 900 psi, similar to the burst pressure of the H motor. We believe that the reason for this overpressurization is an inhibitor breach. The inhibitor wraps around the propellant grain, ensuring that the outer surface of the grain cannot burn. If the inhibitor cannot withstand the motor's pressure and heat, it will debond from the grain, increasing the burn surface and in turn the chamber pressure. There is substantial evidence to prove the possibility of an inhibitor debond. Firstly, through the duration of the burn, the exhaust becomes darker in color. Sorbitol propellant produces white exhaust, so this light gray exhaust points towards something else being burnt inside the motor, perhaps the paper inhibitor. The day after the test, I sifted through the debris, looking for the inhibitor remains. A heavily charred piece of inhibitor would provide good evidence of a debond. I found many pieces, some being clearly burnt. Look how charred this one is. So, here comes the math part. The most important thing found while sifting through the debris were these pieces of unburned grain. I found that each of them shared a similar distance from the inner radius to the core, about a 1/4 inch each, meaning that they burnt quite evenly. I used this distance to deduce the burn depth before the CATO, about 0.155 inches. The motor burnt for 0.565 seconds, meaning that the average burn rate was 0.274 inches per second. Now, using the load cell data, I found the average chamber pressure was about 466 psi, giving it a predicted average of 0.305 inches per second. This means that the theoretical error is 11%, pretty close for something as difficult to control as a rocket motor. This proves that the KNSB propellant had nominal burn rate properties, yet still managed to overpressurize. More math shows that at the burn depth of 0.155 inches, each inhibitor would only needed to have breached 0.22 inches, a very plausible possibility. So, this KO must have been caused by a breach of the thin, weak inhibitors that I used to cast the grains. Unfortunately, this failure will cause substantial delays to our first research mission. New inhibitor material is currently being tested. Furthermore, we are looking at new casting techniques in the interest of higher grain quality. Sorry for the bummer. I hope we have some better news for you in our next monthly update.